I was raised Irish Catholic, but I could never get one God out of three. It was always three. So I started a journey where I went through every religion that I could think of. So I went to Greece, studied the Orthodox view of Christianity, and I said, I just can't believe this. So I said, I'll look at the Torah, I'll look at the first 5 books of the Bible. So I said, okay, this makes sense. They say worship only one God. So I went to a local temple and I said, I want to be a Jew. And the rabbi, he said, is your mother Jewish? I said, no, my mom is not Jewish. And he said, are you going to marry a Jewish girl? And I said, well, if you have one, bring her out, we'll see what happens. You know, if we like each other, we'll see how it goes. He didn't like that. He asked me to leave. So I said, I don't believe God would limit his religion to one nation. I think God would want all of the creation, all of mankind, to experience salvation, to experience liberation in worshiping him.
انطلق إسماعيل وزوجته في جميع أنحاء العالم بحثاً عن معتقداتهما الدينية. ما اكتشفاه غير حياتهما ومنح جميع من يلتقي بهما القوة في الحياة.
My name is Ismail Chartier, and I converted to Islam 10 years ago. I was raised Irish Catholic in a neighborhood called Hell's Kitchen, Manhattan, which when I was a kid was a very bad neighborhood. It was full of drug use. The Irish mafia ran it with an iron fist, and if anyone got in their way, people were dealt with. My mom and dad are both first-generation Irish American, and me and my brothers are second-generation Irish American, which comes with a lot of culture and heritage that you have to learn. It's wajib, it's mandatory, obligatory that you learn what it means to be Irish. The culture, the dancing, the music, the hatred of the English occupation of Northern Ireland, especially when your family's from Belfast.
نشأ إسماعيل في أحد أقصى الأحياء في أمريكا، وهو حي يضمر الكثير من العداء العرقي والديني وليس التسامح.
There was a mixture of Puerto Rican Catholics and Irish Catholics there, and never did the two ever meet. There were 2 parishes in my neighborhood, one for Roman Catholics and one for Irish Catholics, and we never went to the other parish.
أصبح إسماعيل أحد أبطال المصارعة.
I wrestled from the time I was 5 years old to the time I was 20 years old. That's who I was. It was my identity. It was everything I was this. I was known as Brandon the Wrestler. That's who I was. I was a 4-time state wrestling champion.
وقد منحته بطولته الرياضية فرصة الالتحاق بالجامعة.
I was in university, at the University of Arizona, and I was on the wrestling team. And I got hurt really, really bad. I hurt my back, and I couldn't wrestle anymore. And I remember the day that the trainer and the coach brought me in to their office, and they said, you're finished, you can't do this anymore. And when I couldn't do that anymore, I didn't know who I was. And all I felt was pain and anger. And I wanted the world, not just a certain individual, but the world, to feel as much pain that I felt.
كانت طفولة جينيفر مختلفة تماما، حيث نشأت في الضواحي الآمنة في شيكاغو.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. My name is Jennifer Merrick, and I've been Muslim for almost 10 years. I was raised Roman Catholic, and it was kind of, you went to Sunshine Club on the weekends, and you were confirmed, and I didn't know what that meant, and I never questioned it because we were so busy with sports and gymnastics. My gymnastics was, I think it was my religion. Everything I did was gymnastics. My whole day revolved around gymnastics. It was my life. I wasn't looking for anything else at that time because the answer was gymnastics. And I did gymnastics through college. I got hurt my junior year in college. I had to quit gymnastics, and it was pretty crushing because that was my life.
مثل المصارع إسماعيل، إصابة جينيفر تركتها حائرة.
My gymnastics friends, basically when I got hurt, I couldn't do gymnastics anymore. It was so painful for me that I separated myself from them. And I lost touch for a couple years. And then it kind of opened my eyes up to, well, something is really missing in my life. And I started to go to church, and stuff just didn't make sense, and it didn't add up. And so that's when I went on my search.
انطلق إسماعيل في رحلة البحث الخاصة به.
I started a journey where I went through every religion that I could think of and find. So I went to get the Orthodox view of Christianity. I was raised with the Irish Catholic and then with the Protestant view, so I wanted to see the other view of Orthodox. So I went to Greece, studied there for a year, and I said, I just can't believe this. So I said, I'll look at the Torah, I'll look at the first 5 books of the Bible. So I said, okay, this makes sense. They say worship only one God. But I don't believe God would limit his religion to one nation. I think God would want all of the creation, all of mankind, to experience salvation, to experience liberation in worshiping him. So then I went through all the religions. I spent a year in Nepal studying Buddhism and Hinduism. So as I walked by this little section in the university library called Islam, it was really this big. It consisted of like 8 books, you know. So I said, well, this is something I don't know anything about. So they had books by Elijah Muhammad, they had books by Rumi, they had books by Ghazali, and then they had the Quran. They had the Musaf in English. So I said, this is the book that Muslims follow. This is the book that they claim to follow. So I'm going to read this book. And I've based my decision about Islam on this book.
وفي الوقت الذي اكتشف فيه إسماعيل القرآن، اختارت جينيفر تغيير حياتها.
I was lost for so long and just looking everywhere and trying to, like there's a void in my heart that something was missing and I didn't know what it was, and you know, I kept on looking in other places to find it, and I decided to move out to Colorado with my sister and just soul search, and that's when I met my husband.
انتقل والدا إسماعيل إلى كولورادو وتبعهما إسماعيل. وجد نفسه هو وجينيفر يعيشان في مكان غاية في الجمال، حيث يمكن له الدراسة للحصول على درجة الماجستير.
I studied the Arabic language. I read the Quran. I came back to my wife. I looked at my wife and I said, I couldn't be a Christian anymore. I want to be a Muslim. I'm going to be a Muslim. I'm going to change my religion and I'm going to start now. And she said, okay, whatever. She didn't believe that it would be a life-changing experience for me or for her.
You know, my husband became Muslim and he had changed so much, and he was no longer like looking. He was no longer lost. He was like at peace and truly happy. And I was like, well, wait a minute. You know, like what was in those words that can take away all that stuff that we've been, you know, trying to quiet for so long?
I think the #1 change she noticed right away was I had peace and tranquility within myself that I didn't have before. I love my wife. I still do love her. But I was still angry at everybody, so my temper was quick. You know, Irish people have a naturally quick temper. We're known for this internationally. And when I accepted Islam, that all went away. It was like all the weight of the world had been lifted off of me. And my wife saw this. She saw this tranquility and this peace had overtaken me. After a week of me being a Muslim, she noticed such a change in me that she became a Muslim. That she accepted Islam a week, like 7 days, 5 to 7 days after me, based on how much I had changed in that 5 to 7 days. I think what changed for me, what made me have a sense of peace and tranquility, was that I actually, for the first time in my life, had this hole in my heart filled. A lot of people try to fill that hole with drugs and alcohol, shopping, you know. We all have this, like, this sense of emptiness. And that tranquility came about that sense of emptiness was gone. That void had been filled. And it was filled with this kalimat of tawheed, with these words of the oneness of God, la ilaha illallah. And I felt at one with everything around me, complete and total serenity.
I had no idea that, you know, saying the Shahada would just put my heart at peace. I mean, it's something, I mean, I had searched in so many places and so many different, you know, like holistic and, you know, natural stuff in different religions, and it was always like a temporary fix. It was like when you get a new pair of pants and you're so excited, you're like, yes, and the next day you're like, eh. And this is something that in almost 10 years, it hasn't gone away. My
mom and dad were angry, and they were angry for a very long time. They stopped talking to me actually for 2 years. They wanted nothing to do with me, but I continued to call them and show up and mow my dad's lawn and shovel his walk when it snowed.
When my son Abdullah was born, and I told my mom his name, and you know, she was upset because at that point she realized that, you know, we were Muslim, and you know, I think for her it was embarrassing, you know, because Islam, I think, is just looked at so poorly, you know, in this country. And if you only watch the sitcoms about Islam and you listen to, you know, the hate news about it, you're going to hate it as well. Now all of a sudden her daughter is Muslim.
I'm trying to be a good servant to the one who created us and sustained us, and that's why I'm doing these things for you. That's why I'm mowing your lawn. That's why I'm shoveling your walk, is because this is your right that the Creator has commanded me to do.
I think my parents had different reactions. You know, my father saw that I was finally truly happy, and he had seen me go through so much that he was just beyond himself with joy that I had come to peace with myself, and I was truly happy. So my dad is one of my greatest defenders.
Now we have a really good relationship. Alhamdulillah, they love my kids. My kids love them. We go and see them once a week, so we have a better relationship now than we did probably before I was a Muslim. There's always respect. The golden rule, right? It's the same. Treat people as you want to be treated.
Okay, for you. If you have any questions, the mosque is just right down the street.
That translates into Islam too. It's a basic principle of Islamic behaviors, adab, to treat people with respect and to want to be respected.
بالنسبة إلى إسماعيل، فالإسلام لا يوجهه نحو نشر دينه فحسب، لكن إلى معاملة الجميع باحترام ورحمة واهتمام. فقد أعطى هو وجينيفر الكثير من وقتهما لمساعدة صديقهما طالب دين في المنظمة التي أقامها للمساعدات الاجتماعية. إنهم يساعدون الأشخاص الذين انتهكوا القانون في السابق، وآخرين يحتاجون إلى الغذاء والكساء والسكن.
If we can touch their lives and provide for their need and introduce them to Islam to help their soul, then that's what we're trying to do.
In 2002, when I met Talib and he explained the idea of guidance behind the walls to me, I thought it was the most beautiful idea I'd ever heard in my life, about a grassroots organization that was really designed to change society at its very base level. To start wherever there was injustice, wherever there was crime, wherever there was drug use. It was really a program based on complete and total social change, but through our religion. And it really gives us a chance as Muslims to demystify our religion one person at a time.
There's only one condition to this banana bread.
What's that?
You have to grab one of these pamphlets, just a little information about Islam.
I got those at home already.
It's all right. I want you to read it, take time, check it out, see how it's going. Come on down, see us at the mosque sometime.
So we try to build trust. We do our clothing bank, we do our food bank, and we take children on outings so that we can build trust in the community so that they won't shy away when they see us coming, you know, and they can feel free to ask questions. And then they often refer other people, their family members and stuff to the work that we do. Okay, you push it, and when you let it go, that's when it releases. Okay.
It's not that you're a Christian or you're a heroin addict or you're this or you're that. It's, you know, you're a human. Let's just do what we can to get you into a better place. Because we don't want anybody to suffer. You know, my kids don't want anybody to suffer. We don't want everybody to be in a place where they can be comfortable and happy and growing and moving forward along their journey. There's towels, there's blankets, there's, I mean, dishes, and everything is down here.
I know what the people that we deal with, what they need and what they want, because I was one of those people. In St. Louis, Missouri, I was like a bad guy, you know. I sold drugs and did a lot of bad stuff. And then I moved here doing the same thing, the drugs and all that stuff.